gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's May 19th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health, and where the time is now to celebrate John Ruiz's SPAC deal going through on Wednesday, which is what has been widely anticipated for so long, which a lot of people were saying might not happen. Apparently it did happen on Wednesday, and it's all signed, sealed, and delivered and well. And the Miami NIL program is in a healthy state, and that's all that matters from this point on. And but anyway, Matt, as we discussed the news of the day here, the thing that's really been baffling me is how much change people want to facilitate with college football. And I'm looking yesterday, and there's a state senator or representative out in California that's trying to, and California, by the way, was the pace setter for NIL, so you can't poo-poo it because it's California. There's a state rep or senator, I can't remember which one, out there who now wants to see the college athletes share in the television revenue. Okay, so let me get this straight. So now on top of NIL, they want them to get half of the TV revenue. There's only one problem. Who's going to pay all the expenses? Who's going to pay for the scholarships? Who's going to pay for the books and the housing and all the things that all these universities around the country pay for all of their football players when you're taking half of their revenue away? That's the first thing I'm going to say. And the second thing I'm going to say is, what's going to happen to all the minor sports, which count on football to fund entire athletic department operations? So, I'm questioning that one. I think people might be meddling a little bit too much there. But we'll see what happens on that front. Today, we talk about a couple things. The NCAA said on Wednesday that they are going to do away with the 25 scholarship limit for the next couple years, meaning the teams can sign as many players as they want as long as they stay under the 85 scholarship limit. So that's number one. And then the other thing that they said is that they now are going to allow conferences to determine on their own, no accountability to everybody else and the NCAA, how they determine their conference championships, how they determine participants in their conference championship games. And Matt, you did such a good job in the lab 2 days ago, looking into all the numbers of early commitments and things like that, and people enjoyed it so much. We sent you back to the lab yesterday to decipher all of these changes that are being proposed and are taking place and figure out, are they going to benefit Miami or not benefit Miami? So with that, I'm going to give you the floor.
Yeah, they don't benefit Miami. Next question. No, I did look into it, and this is going to be my DNR because I'm not going to do another DNR later. Okay, for those of you that aren't acquainted with my DNR, it's Matt Shodell's Daily Negative Rant, which some could claim it's just the entire show is my DNR, but I prefer to just keep it for one segment, typically, at least officially. So it makes zero sense what the NCAA did. It's almost like, you remember how they make the celebration rule was like the Miami rule, right? This is almost like Miami rule part 2, because it's a rule that should help every program, but somehow the NCAA has found a way to make a rule that just doesn't help Miami specifically almost. I mean, Miami's in a weak division, the Coastal, where you could argue they had maybe a better than 50-50 chance of reaching the ACC title game, with really the only other competition, a Pittsburgh team that was going to basically depend on a transfer quarterback who may or may not pan out to be great. Last year he was okay. The year before he was great. And obviously Miami lit up that defense last year, and the defense lost some key players. So you could argue that Miami would have a pretty easy road to the ACC title game. now this new rule that the NCAA decided is conferences can just decide what they want to do in terms of title games. There's no more divisions needed. The Pac-12 immediately sent out a release, hey, we're just going to have our 2 best record teams, no matter division, play in the title game, which really makes sense. It's almost not fair. Like, how can the ACC now not say we're going to have the 2 best teams play, especially when they have 2 teams, according to the ESPN poll at the end of last month. They had 2 teams in the top 11 in that poll. One, I want to say it was NC State or Wake Forest. I always get confused. I think it was NC State was number 7 or something, and Clemson was number 11. Miami wasn't even on that top 25, okay? So I can't imagine the ACC is going to look very good if they have 2 top 20 teams at the end of the year and hypothetically an unranked team in the Coastal, maybe, I don't know, that's in the ACC title game. Like, they're not going to do it, especially when other conferences are already starting to say we're going to have our 2 best teams play. I mean, this is just, it's going to happen. I'd be shocked if the ACC says, oh, we'll put it off another year, especially because they're based in North Carolina and they want to screw Miami. There's no way they're going to let Miami be in the ACC title game if they can avoid it. So it's going to happen. And it makes the road to the ACC title game much more difficult for Miami because not only NC State, but Wake Forest is in the top 20. NC State, Wake Forest, Clemson, you could say those are probably the 3 best teams. I think most people would agree right now in the ACC.
Yeah, what if there's 4 ACC teams with 1 conference loss? What are they going to do? They'll
come up with a generic, head-to-head and group tie-breaking procedure. There's an easy way to do it, and then you just flip a coin at the end. They always have that as like the 5th, really points against, points in the mini division. You go through the 10 different things, and you get down to a coin flip. But the bottom line is it's not going to make Miami's road to the title game any easier, for sure. Definitely makes it harder. Whereas if you're at a school that's stuck with Clemson in that division, you're like, this is great. We could be the 2nd best team in the Atlantic, which will no longer exist eventually, and we'll be in the title game. Screw Miami, And then the NCAA's other great rule, which is amazing, is they lifted the 25 cap. You could bring in as many people as you want, transfers, recruits, whatever, man. Bring in 50, bring in 100, doesn't matter. Well, guess what? One of the schools that can't even hit 25 if they wanted to next year, and by the way, this is just for the next 2 years. That's all they've done. I guess after that, they'll reevaluate. For 2 years, and those are the 2 years Miami just has a ton of freshmen and sophomores. Just those 2 years,
unless
any other school can take 50 recruits. Miami will not get to 32, which they're allowed to now with 25 and the 7 free transfers. There's no way. There's no way they're going to be able to bring in 64 new players in the next 2 years when they only have a total of 24 graduating in the next 2 years. I mean, they have to have 40 kids leave. 40 freshmen and sophomores right now would have to leave in the next 2 years to even hit the number that's allowed under the current rules. So all that's doing is benefiting these schools that change head coaches and everyone leaves. They can sign a 40, 50 player class and be really, really good in 2 or 3 years, or bring in a ton of transfers and be really, really good right away. Like, it benefits every school except Miami, that's in that situation with either older players or guys that are going to be gone after this year. And that's not going to happen at Miami with a new coaching staff that's really good. Like, there's just no benefit to it that I see. They needed to increase the 85. I don't understand why they didn't. That's what would have helped Miami. Miami needs that 85 to become 95 or 100. That's what would have helped Miami specifically. These 2 rules did nothing to help Miami, and actually.
So what could they have done differently that would have helped Miami, in your opinion?
I just told you, raise the 85. Raise the 85 limit. That's it.
And then just let everybody take whatever they want.
You mean above the 85?
Well, if they're doing it for Miami, they're doing it for everybody. So every school in the country could just take as many players as they want. I don't think that would work, Matt.
What are you talking about? That's the rule. What do you mean?
No, I'm saying if you eliminate the 85 limit.
Don't eliminate it, raise it. Either make every.
But it used to be higher and they brought it down because the cost is astronomical.
Well, then listen.
An extra 5 scholarship players might cost you $500,000.
Well, guess what? They're making plenty of money. They're making plenty of money. And basically, what they could have done is even allowed super seniors to not count. It's just a way to let student athletes get an education. Because let's face it, there's going to be kids that are just run off by this new rule. There's going to be players who are even second teamers at some schools where they're like, we could take 40, recruits this year. You're gone. You're a junior backup. You're gone. Miami doesn't have a lot of those, because they all have freshmen and sophomores, like I said. So they're going to be just kicking kids off teams right and left to bring in all these recruits. It's a lot of these programs. especially because some of the top programs like Miami can't take big classes if they want to keep the bulk of their returning talent. So there's going to be a big pool of available players for these schools that normally aren't good. It's a chance for the mid-level schools in the ACC to just grab tons of talent they otherwise would not be able to get in a given year because they can go over that amount. Top schools have young talent, can't take that many kids, especially with the COVID having bloated these rosters. It just doesn't help Miami, and it helps other programs, and it evens the playing field for some of the programs that just have been struggling. The Virginia Techs, the Virginias of the world, whoever it is that they want to reshape their roster with a new coach. Now they have a way to do it because a new coach comes in, grabs 40 brand new recruits that are all, right there. And it's great. And a school like Miami, what are you going to do? You're going to drop 20 kids who are going to have nowhere to go now because of the 85 limit. Other schools aren't going to take them because they could take recruits instead. These were, guys who are going to be backups, obviously, at Miami, even if you drop them. Let those kids graduate. That's what I'm saying. Raise the limit so kids can graduate. Even if it's 10 players that are on a do not play list for the rest of their careers, let them have a chance to go in the portal and come back to be on a do not play list and just graduate and never be allowed to play. At least let them graduate. That's what the NCAA says it's about. Letting players be student athletes and be students first. And basically what they're doing now is saying, no, you're not students anymore. You're athletes. If your school kicks you off into the portal and no one takes you, bye-bye. Good luck at McDonald's or wherever. And it's ridiculous. That's my DNR.
Well, I got a feeling
nothing against McDonald's, by the way. I mean,
I got a feeling
I'm sure it's a great corporation. I just picked that randomly because that's what people tend to say, I guess.
I think you've probably confused a few people with that rant, but
are you confused?
But no, I'm not confused. But I think the numbers, whatever the rules are, I think the numbers will work themselves out. I think coaches will adjust. I don't think they should raise the 85 limit.
You're out of your mind.
Huh?
You're out of your mind. You don't believe in math.
No, I think 85 players is enough. Think about it. How many guys play in a game? I mean, if you go too deep, 40, 50 guys play in a game, that means you have 35 scholarship players that aren't even seeing the field as it is. I don't think they need to increase the 85 scholarship.
Oh my God. First of all, it's common sense. It's as common sense as saying the world is round as opposed to flat, although I know there are certain people out there who think the world might be flat.
No.
They don't travel very much. But
look, the 85 limit is good.
Okay. Let's count up the 40 players who you think will be gone in the next 2 years. Okay. You ready? We'll go through them.
I'm not going through that exercise.
Well, I can tell you right now who's not going to be gone.
But here's the thing. I think the 85 limit is good. I think eliminating the 25 limit is also good because if a team is light, if a team took transfers, if kids fell off the team for whatever reason, it lets them get back up to full strength and on a level field with everybody else. So what
about the kids who have nowhere to go? The 85 limit prevents student athletes who get kicked off a team and told you're not good enough, we want to recruit instead of you. It prevents them from graduating. You don't care, apparently. Your kids already graduated from college. What do you care?
I don't know that it has to prevent them from graduating.
That's what I'm saying. Have a do not play list of an extra 10 players.
That a kid gets to finish his education. I mean,
that's exactly what I just said. An extra 10 player DN do not play list.
Yeah. All right. I'm okay with that.
Well, you're talking about money. You said they don't have the money for it. I mean,
you're talking about very expensive stuff. I mean, yeah, you're talking about 10 players on $80,000 a year scholarships. That's almost $1 million. So
that's nothing, man. Just ask John Ruiz how much money that is. He spends that on one night at Carbone.
John Ruiz he's in good shape now.
And by the way, guess who's going to Carbone tonight?
Very happy for John Ruiz.
I'm celebrating John Ruiz's deal at Carbone tonight. I'm very excited. I'm getting a $68 veal Parmesan.
It's special, man. That veal chop is good. Very
good.
All right. So anyway, so that's on the website today. You can sink your teeth into that. We also have a story on a tight end from Virginia, Julian Randolph. He's from Purcellville, Virginia. He was once committed to Vanderbilt, decommitted from Vanderbilt. Miami offered him. He's taking an unofficial visit to Coral Gables this weekend. We preview that visit in a story today. And then we've got another story, which is really interesting, on Dillard running back Christopher Johnson, who suddenly finds himself getting all these offers from big-time schools, Texas A&M, Miami, had a really good spring, obviously, and he's been offered by Miami, and we think there's a great chance he ends up in the class. So,
yeah. Cedric Baxter, who? Mark Fletcher, who? We don't need those guys. The guy was here in the backyard the whole time. Hello.
Well, they did send Kevin Smith to American Heritage to check in on Mark Fletcher, just to make sure, okay, that there wasn't an opening there. Cedric Baxter still actively being recruited. There's no question they would take him. But I think, you can't get caught, with your pants down. I think that they are taking precautions and making sure that they get a decent running back in the class. And that's where Christopher Johnson comes in. And if all these other schools, Texas A&M, et cetera, are offering him, that means he's probably good enough. So, we'll take a closer look at him as we move forward. But he does have an offer now and is very much in the ball game for Miami. Let me take a moment here and let's hear from our friends at Life Wallet.
My name is Yohan Morales, and I am Life Wallet. Hey, yo. Heads up.
It's a home run.
Normally I strike out all my hitters, but I want everyone to knock it out of the park with Life Wallet. Life Wallet could save my life, and it could save yours too.
Life Wallet. Saving time, saving lives.
By the way, the baseball team lost again on Tuesday night. A continuation of the struggles that they've been having.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought they'd come together a little better as the year went along.
Yeah, it seems like they're going backwards at the end of the year. Not good.
Very disheartening. Yeah, we'll see how the final series plays out, but they got to probably sweep or do amazing things at the ACC tournament, which there's no signs of either happening right now. To have a super regional home, locked in.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. And lastly, we're taking a look at a couple kids going into the future. A 2024 wide receiver by the name of Day Farmer from Melbourne. He's a 4-star. The funniest thing is that Steve Field goes to visit his school and sends word to the kid, you better start eating. He's 6 foot, 165 pounds. Obviously has to get bigger for college, but such a unique message. I thought that was kind of cool. And then we've also got a story on a 2025 athlete by the name of Amari Anderson from Alpharetta, Georgia. The Canes are his first offer. He's 2025. So we give you a little bit of update and let you get to know Amari Anderson. So that's about it for today.
Well, you don't want to give any love to the walk-on quarterback, huh? All right, well, forget the walk-ons. Who cares? Gary doesn't care about the 85 limit, doesn't care about the walk-ons. All he wants is stars. Just the amazing players.
Talk about the walk-on quarterback.
No, forget it.
No, go ahead. Talk about the walk-on quarterback. Tell us about him.
Let me tell you something. He was very excited to talk to me. And I love sort of stories like this. We put the story up late yesterday. And, just a super, super nice kid. He has no illusions.
Of course he's a nice kid. He's got to beg for a scholarship.
Yeah, but, he has no illusions of grandeur. I'm like, do you feel like you were overlooked or underrated? He's like, no. He just didn't deserve any offers is basically what he told me. He's like, I went to every camp. He's like, I went to 1 million camps. Nobody wanted to offer me. He's just honest. I love kids like this.
Paying his way to school.
Yeah, and he's going to have to work hard. Of course he's a nice kid. He loves Frank Ponce. The best part of the whole story to me wasn't that whole thing. I mean, that was sort of funny because usually I'm so used to having recruits tell me, how they feel like they were, they were overlooked. They should have had offers from every top school in the country. It was nice, very refreshing to hear somebody say, I didn't deserve any offers. But anyway, he did actually have an offer from Toledo, and then they took someone else and told him he could be a walk-on. So there was that.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be a walk-on at Miami than Toledo.
Yeah, but my favorite part, and look, this is the great part. Okay, that's he's just a nice kid, and he's just honest, and it's great, very refreshing. But the best part to me is he visits Miami, and they give him the star treatment. How they roll out the red carpet, they have him go through, look at practice film, they sit down with him, they spend the whole day with him when he's down here. Who does that for a walk-on? I love that. And he says this is the best part to me is he says he walks into the meeting room with Frank Ponce to look at some film, and he says Frank Ponce puts jazz music on the overhead speakers while they're watching the film. Like it's like some sort of jam session. I said to the kid, I'm like, I said, what kind of jazz, was it? He's like, I don't like jazz. I have no idea, So
at a program like Miami, walk-ons are important. They really are, because you don't get a lot of them. And the ones that you're able to get are significant in filling out the scout team and in helping out at practice and things like that. So, yeah, I'm sure they did roll out the red carpet for him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Gary, you had as many offers out of high school as he did. So, you have something in common with this guy. Oh, and the other neat thing about this kid is he's coached by Chris Harvey.
Hey, be careful, man. I was a tennis player in high school, and I did have some offers.
Offers to.
I didn't take them because
offers to go to lunch, offers to go to dinner,
tennis, and I had offers for journalism. And instead, I wanted to go to the U, and I went to the U. How about that?
That's a great story, Gary. You should write a book about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, the neat thing is Chris Harvey is the kid's coach, and he of course was part of that 2001 national title team. He was the long snapper in those days. So
my name is Yohan Morales, and I am Life Wallet.
Nobody wants to watch that again.
Wow. You got Life Wallet on the brain.
All right, folks, that was an accident.
Yeah, right. As soon as I start talking, you put on the Life Wallet commercials every time.
No. If I was going to do that, it would be the.
Focus on your self-love. That helps a lot.
We gotta get that in at least once a day.
Poor kid. I mean, you got to stop playing that. He's gonna never talk about it again.
I absolutely love it. It's great.
The funny thing is that wasn't even the script. He just said that all by himself. No, I don't know. I'm just making that up. I'm sure they told him to say that, but I think it was a joke when they told him to say that. They didn't think he'd actually say it. I mean, if you tell I don't know who, I'm trying to think of somebody who you'd say that to. If you told, I'm trying to think of a offensive lineman, I get the feeling that if you told, Nessa Silvera, if he was still here, if you gave that script to Nessa Silvera, he would rip it up, stomp on it, set it on fire, and, just leave from the nearest emergency exit. Like, there's no way Nessa Silvera is reading those lines. So good for Don Chaney. I think most of the Miami Hurricanes would have been like, give me the next script. This one's not for me,
Nessa Silvera sent out the funniest tweet yesterday. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick here. I got a real kick out of it. It was like suggesting that he was a victim. Oh God, let me see if I can find it real fast.
Well, while you're looking for that, let me tell you that, okay, we always hear things, and who knows if they're true or not. But what I heard about Nesta Silvera when he first showed up at UM is he immediately started getting in fights with the players. And I didn't know if that was good or bad at the time, because that was back in the time when it's like, maybe this will actually help Miami. Like, they need something to light a fire. But he was getting in fights with everybody, in practices.
Coaches, players, everybody.
It was craziness.
So he tweets out, Matt. He tweets this out.
Yeah.
I done sat back and took in all the disrespect. I can't wait for the season. Now, what disrespect? I mean, it got to the point where
disrespected by everybody all the time, Gary. You could literally just walk by him without saying hello because you didn't notice him. He'll tweet that out. So who knows what caused that? But by the way, I meant to say something earlier. Remember when we had our DNR about the whole schedule, and they're going to go to probably a 3-5-5 with 3 annual games against people they feel are good matchups, and then switching off the next 5-5 teams in the ACC schedule. What I thought of, and I meant to say it earlier, when that first was brought up by Dan Radakovich as probably what the ACC scheduling system will become. I can't imagine they can change the schedule for this year, but the following year. What I thought of was, and I don't think I ever told him this publicly, but I was told several times that when Al Golden got the schedule his final year, and I don't remember who was on the schedule, but I was told that when he got that schedule, he started ranting and raving that he could not possibly succeed with this schedule. It was the worst schedule ever. And he was going to get fired because of the schedule, when the schedule came out, okay? And I just have a feeling that when Mario Cristobal sees that, he's going to be playing the NC States and the Wake Forest and the Clemson of the world, he'll be like, this is great. Because who wants to play Duke? Who wants to play Georgia Tech? That's not Miami. That's not how Mario Cristobal is built. That's not how Miami players get excited for games. You wonder how Miami loses to an FIU? It's because they had no interest in playing FIU, and it was the stupidest game ever scheduled. FIU with their Super Bowl Miami's like, God, we have to play these guys. Like, why are we playing these guys? So, like, let's get some really good teams from the schedule. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I just think it's funny when you hear what I heard the reaction was from Al Golden, and what I imagine the reaction will be from Mario Cristobal to actually playing a lot of good teams instead of some just like crappy, quote unquote, crappy opponents. I don't know if they're really crappy or not. It's just a huge dichotomy, I think, in probably the outlooks of both.
All right. So that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We thank everybody for.
I think people want to hear more about all your offers for tennis and journalism out of college. Are you sure you don't want to indulge everybody?
I'm trying to remember. I mean, I know one of them was Vanderbilt. I could have gone to Vanderbilt. There were one or two others.
You went to Miami over Vanderbilt.
I did, absolutely. Yes,
interesting.
Yes, I did. I wanted to go to the U.
You don't want to do vandysports.com, huh?
No, I wanted to go to the U.
Yeah, you would have had about 2 subscribers if you did vandysports.com. It would have been your your wife and your children would have shared an account. Those would be your 2 subscribers.
All right, well, that's good. I can't believe they're still in the SEC. Why is that school still in the SEC? Anyway, all right, that's their problem.
Well, for baseball, they're good in the SEC. It's just football they're not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a waste for them to be in the SEC, though. All right, so that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We thank everybody for joining us. Hope you have a phenomenal day. And
yeah, you going to Carbone's tonight? Will I see you there?
No.
Ruiz can't get you in?
I can't afford Carbone.
Well, that's listen. I'm a little worried about that part of it.
Yeah, I can't afford Carbones. It's a little out there. All right, so for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. We thank you for joining us. Although actually, yesterday I said I couldn't afford a second TV. And I don't know if you saw a subscriber on our message boards offered to give me his old TV.
Yeah, that was a great TV too. That's a classic.
Was that a great TV?
By the way, guess where I'm going to lunch tomorrow? I may not have any money left. I need a raise. I'm going to Shodell's for lunch and Carbone's for dinner for my son's birthday.
It's supporting the Major Food Group. John,
you
know who owns a share of Major Food Group, right?
What's that?
John Ruiz owns part of Major Food Group.
Oh, I know. Listen,
I'm supporting Miami NIL at the same time.
All I can to support the cause, Gary.
What a guy, that Matt Shodell. All right, from Shodell.
What's that word used? Dad gummit? Is that your favorite? That's your favorite phrase, right? Dad gummit? That's what I'll say when I get the bill. Dad gummit.
All right, Dad gummit. Well, we're going to let people go, okay? So be quiet. From Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time, everybody.